Good morning, everyone. We are live. Hey. So look at this crowd. This is awesome. So welcome to NAWRB Certified Delegate Spokeswomen. We are so happy to have everyone on the call today. And this is our first, so very exciting. So I'm glad we're on Facebook Live. Everyone say hi.
Hi.
So you're going to see these incredible role models in a completely different light. If you've never heard me speak before or in front of very incredible panels and things that I've traveled around the world, I am one who does not stand on a cord of being structured. I'm very much about dynamic and being very authentic in what we do and how we do it to get it out there. And one of the reasons is that I want you to really peel back the layers and get to know these women and to understand how we're leveraging and helping each other together. So thank you very much for all joining me this morning. I know this is an incredible time to have opportunities, but also the struggles that we're dealing with. So being part of a certified delegate spokeswoman with NAWRB has been definitely something to me, as starting the program here almost 12 years ago, has been something that has really empowered me to not only, to be very honest, help me personally and professionally, as much as help every one of you women that have been on this call and get things going. The other thing is that it's able to help social impact. We're here to really help the environment and the quality of life. I mean, if you would have been at our conference in 2019, we sat there and we said 3 things were going to happen: quality life, health, and aging population. And here we are. We are now we're October 1st, and we started this in March, pretty much, per se. So here we are 7-8 months into the program, and we're still dealing with the same. And what is that going to be, and how is it going to be? So let's go through, and I would like every one of you, the ground rules are, so everyone watching us on Facebook, ground rules is that they only get a time limit, but everything's open and they're allowed to talk, and they're not allowed to say, hey, can you wait? Can I comment on that? Can I go with that? Can I interrupt you? I'd like to speak about that. We're going to hold all that to the end. So the apologetic is we're in a coffee shop. We're all sitting around and having a great way how we can uplift and collaborate and work together to make it happen. Now, Vanessa, are you chiming in? She's trying to get in. Angie's here. All right. We're all here. All right. So thank you very much. And we're going to go ahead and start. Up in my top left, I have Laura Dietz. You've got 2 minutes. Introduce yourself. Where are you located? And tell me something fun fact about yourself.
Well, I'm Laura Dietz. I'm located in Southern California, Ventura County, etc. Fun thing about me is I love to do different things, not just real estate or auctioneering, because I'm an auctioneer. But recently I was able to work with the USS Iowa and a 3-star general because I'm involved with the Warrior Dog Foundation, which is our military special ops dogs. And with the COVID, we were able to help the city of Los Angeles make this ship available for people that did the COVID. So for me, outside of real estate, that was really, really fun because I love working with the military. I love working with those that serve and help our country. So stepping outside of the box, that was really win-win for me. I spend a lot of my time, my own Summit Realty, doing a lot of charity work, working with foster children, especially a passion for the military, and of course, animals. I named my auction company after my rescued Arabian horse, Merlin, who still gets calls to these days. But anyway, that's it about me.
I love it. And what was so powerful was in our magazine that's actually on live right now for D&I, but that's so powerful about it is that they had never had a write-up about them, and they were able to be featured in our magazine. So kudos to you, kudos to us, and everyone got to learn so much about it. But say thank you. Deanne Golden, you're next.
Hey everyone, Deanne Golden from Atlanta, Georgia. Real estate has been in my blood since I was an 8-year-old. When I say I went on my first open house, my mother, it was her first year in real estate, so I'm a 2nd-generation broker, and she is still 43 years in the business. But the fun fact about me, it was actually taking a tragedy and making it into something that I'm passionate about. After losing my husband a couple of years ago, you know, I was, when I'm not at work and doing what I do with that, I really got involved with the American Heart Association. And the impact of COVID on people that have heart disease and stroke has been, you know, profound. And so what I have found such a fulfilling way to live is by giving back and reminding women that, you know, we've got to take care of our hearts. We're always taking care of everybody else, So from the standpoint of what's fun about that? Well, it's meaningful. And so that fills me, and that gives me a chance to tell every single woman on this call and every single woman that's listening, and every single man, take care of your health first, because then you can have a lot of fun.
Thank you. No, it's heart's the most important thing with anxiety and bipolar and depression and the mental health that we're dealing with COVID. And you were able to help, bring in the women who you dearly love and collaborate. And now you've made a business partner, and it's just fantastic. So thank you very much from that. And you're in Atlanta, Georgia. So very different markets and very different things. So Laura H., let's go. You're up.
Hi, I'm Laura Harbison. I'm broker owner of Realty Executive Southern Nevada Properties in Henderson, Nevada. And a fun fact about me, I have built my business since 1986, raising 7 children, many puppy dogs along the way there too. And having so many children myself, children's issues has always been a focus for me. So back in 1996, I started a charity, A Touch of Home, which is to benefit the Clark County School District and work with their homeless education division. People do not realize, just in our school district now, at that time we had about 700 homeless children attending our schools. Now we're up to over 15,000. So I've always tried to focus on that and use my business, which is helping people with their homes, obviously, be conscious of people who don't have homes, especially we're such a transient town, Las Vegas, with our weather and all that. And then of course now with COVID, we've had, we have one of the highest unemployment rates, in the country, and, a lot of people with a lot of needs. So, I've been on a national television show for the last couple of years, American Dream, and I've used that to help focus on the needs of our city, such as soon as we shut down, people quit donating blood, and we need a minimum of 750 donors a day to meet the need just in our city. And so I immediately had to figure out a way to do it COVID safe, because our camera crew was afraid and this and that, and how are we going to do it? So we ended up having to do it in the parking lot at Vitalent, but just trying to bring attention to to the needs of of the people of our town, of our city. So I'm very blessed that my business and my connections with that allows me to bring a lot of help to a lot of people.
That's fantastic, Laura. And everyone, we're going to be sharing everyone's links to what they do, how they do it, how that we can promote it, to make sure we can collaborate, not, as we talk about, not just in these 4 walls, but outside. That's why we're doing it on Facebook Live. So very, very cool. Thank you. Leora, you're next. You got some exciting news.
Yeah, so my name is Leora Ruzin, and today is actually my first day at a new career that I'm very excited about. Effective today, I'm the Senior Vice President of Wholesale Operations for Equity Prime Mortgage. They are based in Atlanta, Georgia. However, I live here in the Central Valley of California. Been here since the beginning of this year. Literally moved here right before the pandemic. I wouldn't recommend moving cross country during a pandemic. It's not ideal. In addition to what I'm doing at Equity Prime Mortgage, which I'm very excited about, I'm also the managing editor of Mortgage Women magazine, and I've really been able to utilize that platform to help bring some very pertinent issues to light in regards to equity and equitable distribution of wealth and opportunities for women, not just in the mortgage industry, but in the whole of the real estate ecosystem. In addition to that, I'm very passionate about advancing home ownership opportunities for low to moderate income housing, and definitely for veterans, as I am also a veteran. So I'm very active in my community. I'm very active with the Mortgage Bankers Association and their Mortgage Action Alliance, which is a grassroots organization that ensures that our voices are heard on Capitol Hill and at the state level, ensuring that regulations are being passed that make sense not only for our industry, but to protect the homeowner, especially during times like COVID, where forbearance is such a big issue right now, but making sure that people have a place to live, but that lenders aren't being overexposed to a lot of risk. So I'm very excited to have that additional platform in addition to the work that I'm doing with Desiree and NAWRB.
Very cool. Well, the thing is, so fun fact about Leora is we met at the very first Empower event that Marcia Davies sits on our NDLC, and she stood up and she says, I want to be a COO of a company. And here we are, and multitude of things, and look at this. So it's very awesome. So thank you. Nancy, you're up.
Hi, my name is Nancy Obando, and fun fact about me, I don't know. I hate washing my own hair. This lane is not tamed by me. All kidding aside, something that I've been very, very passionate about, and I actually learned early on as a child, is women empowerment. I mean, we face so many social inequities, health-wise and economically, in the workforce. And I think that we need to band together to make a change. So, and something that I think that inspired me to do that is just my childhood and seeing what my mom's struggles were, things that we put up with that we shouldn't. And I think it has to do with the fact that we think that we don't deserve a place on the table when in fact we do. So it's something that, I've always been passionate about. So I do a lot of work with the community about that. I do sit on several boards as well. I have a lot of experience doing grassroots things in the real estate community with our trade organizations, being past president. Really worked in every single position you could think of in a trade organization, just because I think that it's about rolling up your sleeves and doing the work. Who cares what position you're in? As long as you're making a difference, that's what matters. And so I'm really excited to be part of this group. Another fun fact about me, besides not liking to wash my own hair, I actually like to take pictures of sunsets. Photography is something that has nothing to do with real estate. But at the end of the day, I love sunsets because it's a reminder that every sunset is the opportunity or reminder that there's a new dawn coming. So I don't like to let the past define me, and I don't think anyone should either. We all make mistakes, we all go through things, but that is just a small chapter of your life. It's okay. Start the new one.
I love it. I love it. Well, one of the things, fun fact is she drove all the way to Las Vegas from LA to go get her hair done. So that compensates the washing, right? And also you just transferred a week or two ago to a new job, and it is?
Yes. So I did start a new position. I am the Senior Vice President, Head of Affordable Lending and Strategic Products for Mountain West Financial. I'm super excited for this opportunity because it will, allow me to also, just like Leora and a lot of us on this call, to make a difference and really cater to the low to moderate families and champion for sustainable homeownership.
Love it, love it, love it. So thank you. Tiffany, you're up. 2 minutes.
Well, hi, thank you so much. This is my first one, so I'm super excited. My name is Tiffany Curry, and I am from Houston, Texas, and I'm coming to you from my living room. So that's why you see you see how I like it, the light colors, and I'll share that with you. I am the new broker owner of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Tiffany Curry and Company Realtors in Houston, Texas, and I'm super excited to say, since we're talking about women today, I am the first woman owner of a Berkshire Hathaway in Houston solely. So that's really exciting. And of course, Desiree knows I'm the first African-American owner for a Berkshire Hathaway franchise in the world. So we're really excited on a number of levels for a lot of things. This is October 1. We are just about over 9 months in. So I am a new broker owner in the midst of COVID-19. And one of the fun facts I can say to you is, I love what Nancy said, every day is different. Every day is the new beginning. I am having probably the most fun that I ever had. I'm learning myself. And I think as women, that's one of the things, learning yourself and learning people. A fun fact for me is coming into brokerage, I wanted it to be fun. So I like that you said that. And so our charity that we just recently kicked off is called Fur Ever My Home, fur for animals, because that's my passion. So animals and children have always been my passion. And so we wanted to connect something with animals that had to do with real estate, because we put people in homes. And so we thought, well, why not help animals find their forever home? And it all kind of ties in together. So we're really excited about that. And with that, we're helping other animal charities that actually place animals. So we're a support system for them of abused and animals that they're getting back on track. So I'm excited for that.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And yeah, no, we met also at a panel several years ago when she was a realtor before she got her brokerage, and she says, Desiree, we're doing this. So very cool. Now, Angie, Angie's been on around the world for the last 4 months, and welcome, Angie. So she's actually in her home now, right?
Yes, I am. I'm finally home. Only for a week or so, though. We're doing a bunch of improvements. Thank you guys so much for having me on the call today. I just want to say you're all amazing women, and I love hearing about what you're doing and your passions and all that stuff. So I am Angie Weeks. I got my broker's license recently, and I am with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services California Properties. I absolutely love it, and my passion is real estate. So I come from a tech background, and I used to build websites for real estate agents. So I have marketing talents and things like that I like to use to kind of help combine the tech world with, your physical world and home ownership. So I created a platform that actually helps to crowdfund down payments, and that's my passion. It's just home ownership. I bought my first home when I was 19 years old, and it changed my life and made everything better since then. So I just I want to encourage other people to do the same and to delve into home ownership. So with the Vow to Save platform, it's friendly to real estate agents and to lenders and all of that kind of stuff. And we're just helping people that deserve to own a home get into property. And traveling around the country has been interesting with COVID. We did everything in a Tesla with, charging, and had a solar panel. And it was, we live in a beautiful country, you guys. So I encourage you to get out there safely and just check out all that the United States has to offer. Waterfalls, caves, mountains, lakes. It's amazing. So
she literally went 4 months and rented out her house. Kid you not. So it was absolutely amazing. And she rented it out because she has an Airbnb platform in her house. So we could talk about that, because I think it's very interesting how we met at Chapman. And you've known it. And actually, she called me up 6 years ago and said, I have a foreclosure that's happening in 5 hours. Can you stop it for me?
Thank you so much for helping.
Did you wait like a day before, not 5 hours? I was able to stop it because it was who I knew and what I knew. So thank you, Fabiola.
Thank you,
Miss Fab.
Hi guys, I'm Fabiola. I'm in Chicago. Soy Latina. So being Latina in Chicago, one of my mottos is that when you come from nothing, you stop for nothing. I work a lot in the CRA realm in banking and financing. I'm one of those individuals. My passion is education, right? Especially when we're talking about finances and real estates and how do I get in my own home? That's what my niche is. I work with a lot of grassroots organizations here in Chicago, and that's exactly what we do. We're either up early on Saturday mornings or late on Wednesday nights. One of the other things that I love to do that actually has just stricken me with passion in the last year is working with high trafficked children. And so that's something that I've been working on with a couple of another grassroots organizations here in Chicago, trying to see if we can make a difference there. So I work for US Bank. I work in the CRA realm, and that's pretty much about me. So when you come from nothing, you stop for nothing.
I love it. I love it. And she's one spunky and hair. We're doing it. All right. And Vanessa, love the hair. Check it out. What did we do? New style.
Yes, my hairstylist finally opened up. So like Nancy, I was like, oh my God, she's open. I'm not willing to drive to Vegas, but But honestly, Desiree, thank you so much for this opportunity to be aligned with these amazing, beautiful, radiant divas that are all making really great strides in their communities. They have a heart of gold. I know they're committed. Most of these ladies I've had the pleasure of knowing for several years, and I know how committed they are to just empowering more women, sharing that light, and definitely homeownership. So a little bit of fun fact about myself, I'm actually finishing school. I'm finishing up my doctoral degree in executive leadership, but my focus is on gender studies, so studying women. So this is something that's very near to my heart, near and dear. Hence, I'm part of NAWRB, and I truly believe in its mission being a delegate. So I believe in gender equality. I believe in giving back. I believe that women should be making as much money, if not more than men.
Yes.
And so these are things that really speak to me. I'm blessed to work at US Bank along with my fabulous partner, Ms. Fabi from Chicago, whom I love dearly. So I'm also in the affordable lending space, and nothing brings me bigger joy than creating that generational wealth for others, whether you're a diverse segment, a first-time home buyer, or just wanting to buy your home. So it fills my passion. I love educating and providing others the tools to become a homeowner. And it's funny because Laura mentioned American Dream. Well, that's our niche product, American Dream. And so every little story that everyone brings in, it's like, yes, that's all of us. We all have a heart of gold. I know these ladies are just paying it forward and doing more. And so I'm almost at the end of my road, which is fantastic. And that's one of my fun facts. You'll always see me with a book. I'm not so much into e-learning, like with a book from the internet or Audible. I'm more old school. I have like a book in my hand or my purse or my backpack. So that's on a fun fact about myself.
Yeah, the packs that you carry, and when we went to all the conferences every week, were like you could use it as a legal weapon. And they were so heavy and knock them out, right? There was no you didn't need to have it. It was like, okay, we're here. All right, Brandy, go for it. Thank you, Vanessa.
Thanks.
Brandy Nelson. I'm from Palm Desert, California. Fun fact about me is I have a 4 and a 6-year-old who are home right now, obviously during COVID. And I also run a business. I run a team. I run an REO broker group, and I also run the commercial division. So I think during this whole COVID, I think a lot of agents freaked out and kind of gave up. And so we were able to give them a path to say, hey, there's lots of other things that could be happening. A lot of REO brokers thought, this is it, we're done for. And it's like, no, there's other avenues. So doing Zoom calls once a week. I'm also part of NAWRB, so we did a lot of stuff with NAWRB, and it was the same thing of helping everyone give some value of what's going on right now and other things that we could do. And there's so many facets in real estate and commercial. Not a lot of people know about commercial, so teaching people more about doing commercial real estate, leasing and sales. So doing all that with a 4 and a 6-year-old running around behind my Zoom calls and everything else, but we're getting it all done.
Very cool. Well, fun fact about Brandy is that in Palm Springs, probably about 3 months ago, they had not a single Airbnb or anyone could either come to visit to buy, could come to stay to check anything out because all the hotels and everything were completely closed. So if you wanted to go and do any kind of real estate in the Valley, you were out. You slept in your car. It was completely off limits. So she got involved with everything else. So very cool in that. So I first met Brandy and we roomed together. And fun fact about her, I was the first one to know she was pregnant beside her husband.
That's cool.
So when we say I know, we know the depth. All right, very cool. So thank you all. So the goal is that what I want to talk about is how have we uplifted and helped each other in a more community giving back environment. So I'm going to open up and I'm going to two that I know very importantly that I know could talk about it. And then I want to expand on it. So we heard about Angie talking about technology and her background. When I first met her, we known each other for years and said, Desiree, can you help me with these foreclosure? I Googled you and found out that you have the most connections to a certain bank. And can you please help me? And so sure enough, I was able to help it and stop it within 5 days. And together she was able to get it done and they were able to go on their chapter life. And then she told me about her Valid to Save program. I said, girl, why isn't this out there? So she got it to be more than being the back door or the front door. And now she's already talked to Deanne and several other people, and we've had, you know, big calls and presentations, things like that. But instead of being, so this is going back to the school buck of behind the scenes. So here we are leveraging each other on what we do for a passion, whether it be helping, homeless people, whether it's helping, human trafficking, whether it's helping pets, whether it's helping the aging population. Because one of the things that I'm very passionate about is the aging population, is that we have to take care and have quality life and go through that and where we're going to go. So that connectivity is what this is all about. So we're going to give you 2 minutes, and I want everyone to jump in on the conversation. Angie, talk to me about how your conversation with Deanne and what that brought to everyone. And then everyone, I want to start commenting and say, hey, this is what I would love to do. How do we do this? Go for it. You're up, Angie.
Well, all right. Well, I just love this group because I had a great conversation with Deanne, and we were talking about how I'm passionate about bringing, new homeowners into the realm. And that's kind of tough in Southern California. But Deanne works in Georgia, where things are a little bit more affordable, and it's a little bit easier to crowdfund the down payment funds. So we're talking about getting a class together that I could do virtually. And then ideally, my goal is to start to do this to Berkshire Hathaways everywhere. And then also, Desiree, we also, did a lot of networking at Homeownership Day with Chapman University. And that was something that the Young Professionals Network put on, and you guys also aligned with. And that's something that I'm really passionate about. And this year, we're going to go virtual with that event and do a huge virtual homeownership day. So all of you guys that are talking about all these different unique creative aspects of real estate, I would love to have us all be part of homeownership day this year virtually, because you won't have to travel or go anywhere, and you can just record your knowledge about your passion point. And this is what NAWRB is and does. Like, we take what we are and then we just amplify that with each other. So thanks, you guys.
You're welcome. What's so cool about that is if you think about the Chapman, is we are here in a school that, if you don't know where Chapman University is, my third son graduated from there. It is the third most expensive college in the United States. It's a private university, and it's located in the middle of a city called Orange City of Orange County. And because the integration of each of the colleges within the campus and the city, the residential section is within the college. It's so immersed that you can't tell you're on a college campus for the most part than if you're on the city grounds. So the idea is that integration is so powerful, hence the home ownership piece. And they have a $350 million endowment. So getting your companies out there, getting what you do for, like Laura, what you're doing out in Henderson, and what you're doing out, Deanne, your connections in Atlanta, Georgia. This is the power through Chapman, because they're one of the few universities that I know in the world that actually has a peace study program. There's only 3 places that have that. Who would have thought peace studies program years ago? And then also they have over 75 countries that come, and they have every single state and 75 countries that come to the university every year. So the diversity is huge. Go for it.
Yeah, I want to chime in because this is truly the power of what this group brings. I was listening to Angie talk about her Valid to Save program, and actually I just sat there thinking, I don't understand it. Crowdfunding for helping get a down payment, and this is a safe zone. So we can ask those questions. I have never felt intimidated to ask a question. So often, Nancy, you kind of brought it up, we don't want to ask that question of the self-confidence. If we ask a question, we might look like we don't know what we're talking about, but here we can ask. So Angie and I were actually both in Berkshire Hathaway. I didn't mention earlier, but my day job is I'm a senior vice president, and in my 25th year. And I like to think I should know so much, but every day we're learning. So we pinged each other separately. I said, okay, Angie, you got to kind of walk me through, hold my hand, explain this to me. It was taking me a little while to get my head around it. And like that same day, I then saw, our Mayor Keisha Bottoms here in Atlanta had about that time released the One Atlanta program and was dedicating to help bring 20,000 more homes by 2026 in our city. It was just kind of like this reticular activator goes off, I think, when we're on these calls, and we're going, oh, wait, now Laura, I want to talk to you about auctioning, and Tiffany, we need to talk more about, what you're doing in luxury, and oh my goodness, Vanessa, what you've just been saying with leader, even just hearing people's bios, you start to connect the dots, and you do it in a safe zone. So Desiree, for the platform you provide, but Angie, we're going to do this. We're going to figure it out, and then we will take it. All right. I love to be a beta test.
Absolutely. I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. If you guys need any help, like please reach out. I'll connect with you guys afterwards as well, because it's definitely something I'm passionate about as well.
You know, I'm so excited, all the wealth of knowledge that all of you have in this group. It's so amazing. My husband died 3 days after the earthquake leveled our home in 1994. And I decided I loved real estate and I'm high maintenance. You talk about not wanting to do your hair. I hate to do your hair. And I thought, how am I going to support myself? And so I decided, you know, real estate. And then I opened a real estate company. Well, then an auctioneering company got a hold of me and they said, there's such an opportunity for auctions in California. We want to do business with you. So with the largest international, I opened an auction company. The auctioneer became homesick. I had 13 auctions set up, no auctioneer. I became an auctioneer. What that said was I was the first real estate auctioneer in California. When I went there, they talked and they joked during all the conferences. That lady's going to sell real estate and try to make a living. We sell pigs and chickens. I belong to National Association of Auctioneers still. Ladies, we've come so far. We can be the resource. We can make a difference. We do every day. With all the military women that were home with their husbands deployed, the groups that got together to make sure their children and that they had groceries and things. We are the most powerful resource. We've done it because you know what? We're constantly learning. I mean, I make mistakes every day, but that's an opportunity. And I'm just so amazed, Desiree. Thank you. What a group. What a group.
Laura,
some of the best.
You're also a subject matter expert when it comes to fires, correct?
Yeah.
No, because it's so important right now. There is crazy fires in California. And I know that's something that you didn't share because that's another skill set that you bring, that you've worked with. The evacuation plans and all this important information, especially in California now. So if you could share a little bit about that, since you're...
I think all of us, no matter what state, you know, going through the earthquake and having your house going down, it's kind of a learning experience. Being in California, we're always in fires. My offices, I have 4, and I own Summit Realty. We are disaster trained. And you have to be for a lot of the clients, like you could call me and Vanessa and say, look, we have an asset, even though it's not mine. We need some help. We're able to go out there and take a look at it. But you have to have that right now. All of you should be diversity trained because that's the way our market's going. We have to deal with everybody with every health issue. But like with fires, you have to be able to be the resource to help them. Where do they go to get a new Social Security card? Where can they get some free housing, food, anything for their children? I mean, if you want to earn, you have to learn. But with that being said, you have to share what you have and you have to help people. So many getting into our business don't know. They think it's so easy. Put a sign out in front. Hey, the check comes. I wish it could be that easy. But you know what? We have to learn. And thank you, Vanessa. Fire is a big issue. So is earthquakes.
3.5 million acres have burned, and what someone might not know is NAWRB is very heavily into the R&D side. For the last 11 years, we've been doing research and development and connecting the ecosystem, hence our name. And we had over almost 2 million acres burned in California in 2018. And as of about 2 weeks ago in California, we had over 3.7 million acres have burned. That being said, the natural disasters are huge. So one of the things is that a lot of people don't know is that we're one of only 9 trade associations that sits on the SBA's national platform as a resource partner for women-owned businesses. But what they also don't understand is that the SBA is a hosting for natural disasters. So we all found out about them in a bigger way through the PPP loans and the EIDL loans for the programs as far as small business sustainability with the COVID, with the pandemic. But what they don't understand is that with the programs, with the fires, floods, natural disasters, any kind, including not only the pandemic, but also any kind that could be for wind and hail, there is $40,000 for renters, $200,000 for homeowners, and $2 million for business owners that you can get for those. So when we talk about resources, not only from the fire as an expert, how do you get access to capital? How do we leverage that information and get it? Because how many banks do we know that will go out, or people know that there's $40,000 that you can get as a renter that's going to help you replace that computer, that car, that phone? And where do you go to sign up for it? So those are kinds of things that we are here to connect and get it done. So not to take over, but that is, thank you for that, Vanessa, for that lead into the fire, because I didn't know. But as an expert witness in court for all the natural disasters myself, there you go. Laura, I'd love to get involved in that, because then you could be a resource to us to help us as we platform to go out with it. Because with all the earthquakes and everything, I was called in to testify for the insurance companies and how they deal with what was real, what was not. So excellent. Who's next? I'll call you out, girls. Come on. All right. So we have, Casey, we have Leora, you went through a lot of experiences, from changing states, changing jobs, being a veteran, and going through a lot of life challenges. And here you are, went through, now you have multiple jobs. And we made a joke last night. How many times am I changing your email since I've known you, because of the different companies you've been? And look at you, Tron girl, with the keyboard here. I love it. You're keeping your head above water. And I think it's fantastic. And here you are, and you had some challenges and health-wise, and you're looking back beautiful. You get on an airplane, and here you are going, I can write. And I had no idea, and I'll say it in front of everyone, how well you can write, present, and feel like that is your only job. And yet you're doing 3 or 4 of them and doing it and killing it. So how are you, now, seriously, how are you dealing with being a narrative of the dynamics? Because you're seeing, yeah, we have lip service. Yeah, things are going. So how does that play into what we're talking about for everyone on the call? Because if you think about this call, we're very diverse. If you think about how we look, where we are, what we're doing. So how does that being an editor?
You know, I have to be honest and just completely transparent in my experience, especially this year. It hasn't been easy, and I have dealt with some mental health issues, and I feel like this is an opportunity to shed light on something that is so taboo and something that people don't talk about. On the surface, it may seem like I'm living my best life, and most of the time I'm very grateful and very blessed to have what I have in my life. But I have been struggling with anxiety. I've been struggling with panic attacks. I've been struggling with depression. And so I've had to utilize a lot of the tools that I've learned through, you know, just knowing you and all of everything that you've provided to me, all the tools that you've given me. I'm going through some coaching with Christine Beckwith, and it's been life-saving. And I feel like I have a platform, I have a voice, and I need to use it to let other people know that it's okay to not be okay right now. It's a struggle for everybody. Even for people who have it better than I do, there's people who have it way worse than I do. And I understand that, and I'm aware of that. But I have an opportunity to just let people know it's okay to be struggling and to need help. And it's okay to reach out to others to ask for that help, and to not be ashamed or be afraid to talk about what you're going through. And it's being able to be open about that. It's kind of therapeutic for me, even to just say, hey, look, sometimes I'm really struggling and I need a hug, or, you know, I need a virtual happy hour with my girls, or I hop on a plane to Denver to go see my bestie for the weekend. It's just, you got to do what you got to do to get through this, so you can get back into that zone where you're being an effective leader and an effective woman in this business.
And that is so powerful, Leora. I just want to jump in and say that owning your story and acknowledging that, I think, helps all of us. I think most people looking out think that, oh, she looks perfect. She's so strong. She has a great position. Look at you. You just got promoted. You're an SVP of wholesale now, right? But no one understands the struggle behind that. And sometimes we're our own worst self-critic, right? Or the struggle is just to sometimes like wake up and push yourself, you know, to make it happen. So I think that by you owning that story helps empower others so that we, and I include myself in that, and say, you know what? I'm not the only one going through that. And it's something that took me a long time to do as well, to acknowledge my story. Even like things that I grew up with, like as a childhood, that still trigger me today. I didn't even know that some of the things that triggered me were things that I never dealt with as a kid. So I think that, you know, the more that we talk about it and we know that acknowledge, not everything is easy, but, you know, we just push through it. So, you know, emotional health is very important. I'm an advocate for that too. I lost my brother to suicide, my only brother. And it was something that I never acknowledged or even talked about.
I'm so sorry. We've all been, I believe in the last couple of years, had something traumatic happen to us and had to deal with it. And I think the part of the leadership is that showcasing that we've had this happen and now we're still going, but it's a day thing. I can't remember, someone made the comment about loving the sunset and then the next morning there's a dawn because we know the next day is coming. And one of the quotes that my third son used to say, that for every day you can smile is a day worth living. And that is so powerful because we do have our struggles and we do have our differences. At the same time, having someone that you can talk to that's completely out of the picture because someone just said something that just made a snap is so incredible. And that's what this is all about, is how did someone say something to you just now, or someone you didn't know about that you were like, I definitely want to get on that call, I definitely want to dive deeper, but I'm going to make it happen. One of the things I think that is we as women hold ourselves back from not aspiring to how great we are, is because we don't make the time to make what we need to do that is monumental to us personally, and we're doing it for someone else. So we have to take that time, because if we make it strong for us internally, then our light shines. And then we can help others even more because we're doing it for us. And that someone else might need something as an emergency, but you got to think, is this going to help me now so I can help them better? Or is this just something I give to them and then it just drains us to where we can't take care of ourselves? You know, we talked about health. Deanne talked about health. So I'd love to empower that, because if we don't have the EQ and we don't have the, you know, intelligence can be great, but if you don't get along with people and they're not there for your core mission, we have that togetherness. So, so we all go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think another thing as women is we all try to be perfectionists and we want everything to be perfect. And we know that we should be able to juggle everything, and we can, but it's also okay to say we're doing the best that we can right now. And I think a lot of women don't want to do that. And that's why they don't show their struggles, because you want everyone to think that you are able to handle the 100 things at once and juggle everything. Because I know I do the same thing, and I want everything to be perfect. And you got to remember, you know what? Today is good enough, and what I'm doing is good enough. Because if not, and you want everything to be perfect, you just don't do it because it's not perfect enough. And I think as women, they struggle a lot. And so it is helpful for everyone to talk about it, because everyone's doing the same thing.
I agree. I mean, what I love about being part of NAWRB is our tribe. And I follow most of you lovely ladies already on social media, because now with the pandemic, that's all we can kind of do, either that or call each other. But like with Leora, I totally am like kindred spirits with a lot of her sense of humor. And then when she's on the airplane, I'm like, oh my God, girl, that is so me too. So I could relate to Leora on so many levels as a lot of these women, but I just like her sense of personality and humor, because I have that funny sense of humor too. And I crack up with a lot of her posts. But again, being part of this organization as a delegate spokeswoman, it's a safe zone. You have your voice. We're listening to you. We want to help you grow, and we all cross collaborate, whether here virtually on live, or, you know, we'll text each other or call each other offline. So really, it's part of a growing mission. We're here to empower other women and support each other. And definitely no one has that perfect life, to Brandy's point. You know, I didn't wake up looking like this at all. So yeah, it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing, especially now with the pandemic, because we need to lift each other up and empower each other. And what better way than do it here socially, virtually?
Yeah, and if anyone wants needs a break and wants to drive with me to Vegas to get their hair done, let me know.
Leon, like I'm down. Leon, you're gonna make a comment to Brandy's comment.
I was just, it reminds me of the quote that I saw one time that said, are you going to cry about it or are you just going to make it happen? And I'm like, well, I'm going to do both if that's okay with you. I'm going to cry and then I'm going to go kick ass. So.
And I saw you bite your tongue to say what you really were going to say, but that's okay.
There you go.
we got that down. One of the things that I think that is so, you know, it's not just about the pandemic anymore. It's about the civil unrest. It's about the systemic racism. It's about the economic change. It's about the rule change, the compliance change, the, you know, we just celebrated our 10-year anniversary with the Omnis, with Office of Minority Inclusion. Here we are, women. To be a spokeswoman, you have to be a woman. And the idea is that, you know, the government just, Trump just announced that, you know, no more D&I training of anyone who deals with the government. It's off limits, and expanded it to every tier contractor that deals with it. So you're looking like, okay, here we're supposed to be moving forward and now we're going backwards and we're talking. So one of the things that's so powerful is this is about us at our time. This is about us supporting each other, but also supporting not just from a gender perspective, but the quality of life. You don't have to support someone just because they're of their gender or what they are, but how do we improve each other? Because we need men. I have 4 boys and a husband. We need, and I have 3 girls, they're my fur girls, but we need to help each other just to help to get through this, because if we don't have health, we don't have our mind. If we don't have our mind, we can't have that career and we can't help someone else. And when someone knows you well enough that can tell you that you're struggling, not just from a personal perspective, but from a package perspective, right? That is what's so powerful. So who else would like to jump in and chime in on that? I'll call you out. Tiffany, you're in Houston and you've got a lot going out down there, girl.
Yeah, so we are in Houston and there's always a lot going on. So my heart goes out to you guys. With the fires, of course, you know, we don't get fires, we get floods. But one of the things that I would like to say, and that I love to leave women with, you know, when we met 2 years ago, I think it was about 2 years ago, and you, Deanne, and Teresa had us on a panel, and I was wondering, like, what am I doing on this panel? Because at the time I was an agent, and everybody else on the panel, like Deanne, I mean, you know, they were already well into their careers and, you know, in high levels of leadership and ownership and management. And there was me as a realtor. I can share with people that I love to tell women and just people in general, openness, always be open and quick and receptive to change. All change, even when it's hard, it's not bad. It's that sometimes you have to go through something you have to go through stuff to get through it. And there's no way around it. That's the biggest thing that I will leave. I felt like I was a part of this organization before I was, because a lot of people that I rely on, like Deanne and Teresa, and that I look up to, and that I watch and admire from afar. And Desiree, you know, I've been watching. And so I think we have to remember that too. And that's something that I lose track of. And people tell me more and more is, you know, we're leaders, but also people are watching us, and you never know what somebody is going through who's watching you. And I like what Leora said about, you know, going through depression and not feeling right, and just feeling a certain type of way, because we all go through that. And what I realized is, I love that you shared your struggles, because I think that's so important that we have to share more of, because normally day to day, we want to be positive and we want to put out positive energy, and that's what we should do. But at the same time, people need to be inspired. They need to see the ridges. They need to see the things that we're going through. They need to see our struggles, because it's not easy. I think up until about 3 weeks ago, mindset is such a key. You know, like I said, starting my company this year, and then 3 months later, we're in a pandemic and they're sending us home, and our entire city and the entire country and the world is shutting down. And so how do you start a new business in something like that? And even for me, it was a mental thing, because I was like, oh my God, like, what is happening? Am I dreaming? Is this a nightmare? This cannot be happening. What am I going to do? What am I supposed to do? But you just kind of watch the people around you. And for me, watching people on social media, and even just reaching out and saying, hey, listen, you know, and people calling to say, hey, how's it going? That means a lot. I think we have to realize that people need to see our true, authentic selves, even the struggles. It's not that it's negative, it's what people need to know. Right now, it's helpful for people to see. And even outside of a pandemic, you know, people and women in business, and I want to harp on that so much with women in business, you know, we have so many challenges that our predecessors do not. Whether it's equal pay, equal opportunity, just a level playing field is something that we do not have. It's something we need, but we do not have. And we need to acknowledge that. I don't think that we hide from it. I don't think we can get better or stronger unless we go through it together. And I think people need to see more of the rough edges that we go through, because it's going to be rewarding and inspiring for that person that's been kicked down, that feels like they can't get back up, because you don't get kicked down just once, twice, 3 times. As a company, you know, I have been kicked down so many times, and at this point, in more ways than you can imagine. You know, even, you know, with things that I would have never dreamed of, and it's not even real estate related. And so I think from those struggles and from those visions of in the shoes that I've been in, to be able to come out and share that with people, I think it's going to be so critical going forward. And I think for each of you, you know, you don't just get to be senior vice president or over banking and over all these things without being knocked down and hitting that glass ceiling a million times. I think one of the things I love about this group is you feel comfortable in sharing who you are, where you've been, and that's the beauty of a group like this is for me.
So I would like to add to that as well. You're right. We've been knocked down several times. But one of the things, and I just came across being into this position as of recent too. But one thing that I did differently this time around than before is I negotiated for myself. And that is something that we are not taught how to do. Men do it all the time. Mm-hmm. When men apply for jobs or when they gun for that position, they negotiate the hell out of that contract. And we don't. Why not? Right? And so that is something that I think that we should spread that message more, that it's okay to negotiate ourselves. I took this program through the Multicultural Women Leadership Executive Program with Dr. Davids. And that is actually something that helped me realize that. And another thing, men also bring their friends on up along with them. And that's the part about uplifting. That's what I mean that we should do for ourselves. So besides negotiating for myself, before I left my current position, I negotiated for another Latina female. For her. I mean, she still has to go through the interview process. You still have to get qualified, but it's someone that I believed in. I knew that she was qualified. It's not just bringing in your friend. There's a lot of smart women out there. So why aren't we recommending each other for jobs? And that's what I did. And my ask to her was, you know, I see the potential in you. I coached her along. I advocated for her. And my ask to her was, I believe so much in you that I know that you're going to leave that position too. You're going to supersede that position that you're coming in and that you're grateful for as well. My only ask from you is that when you leave that position, you bring another female in as well.
You're paying it forward. I love it. I love it. Well, you know, I think that one of the things that was so powerful that hit me last night was, I'll share this about Deanne, is, you know, she talked about, thank you very much, Nancy, that it's, you played it forward, you played it backwards, you played it sideways, you played it to be an example as a role model to everyone else, as the leadership that goes with it. So one of the things that I hit up with Deanne is that she's so structured. She's just smiling out there. She's like, oh my God, Desiree, you're not gonna bring this up. Are you really? She last night about 11 o'clock sends me her journey bio that all of you were supposed to send in your journey bios for the last several months. And I got her journey bio and she made it about Journey, the band. and how it related, the actual band Journey. Remember, okay, it dates us. Okay, so I'm gonna break the ice. I'm gonna be
Some weren't born, many weren't born.
I'll be 60 November 22nd, the day John F. Kennedy died 3 years before. Okay, so we got it out there, all right? So break the ice. I'm old, but I'm not old. Anyway, so she does it about Journey, about the songs. We talked about it earlier about growing up and disbelieving, like we talked about. But the cool thing is about she started talking about as a collegiate swimmer. Well, I'm an AAU swimmer, CIF swimmer, played water polo, the only girl that played water polo in 1971 in the entire Ventura County, in the entire league, right? I play in the men's water polo, and now it's an Olympic sport. So we could share that. And I saw her doing it with her kids swimming. I'm like, how cool is that? You know, and I could tell she had the swimmer's body. There are swimmer bodies that are out there. And you could, that's what her coach, she says, I can't believe at 4 years old, he could spot that I was going to be a swimmer, you know, from a coach. So the idea is that the deeper we go into where we've been, how we've been, what that looks like, it really accentuates our ability to be more than who our face is and more than where we've come, because we don't take the time to dwell in how we can help ourselves deeper. And in the end, by just talking about it, it's helping someone else, because they do trigger that a moment, right? And when I saw that last night, I'm like, okay, we got it. And at the end, what did you say, Deanne, that I told you that I thought was absolutely fantastic?
Well, I used the song Don't Stop Believing, you know, and I think that so many of us on this call, you know, people have told us, you won't make it, you can't do this, you shouldn't do this, you'll never succeed. You know, I've even been told in my career that my accent would keep me, my Southern accent, and that I have a tendency to end a sentence with an inflection because I get excited and I want to invoke involvement. It suggested that I didn't know what I was talking about or didn't have confidence in myself. And so, you know, Desiree was saying, Dean, you know, everybody has a journey and every single one of us has been put down. And I'm a big Sheryl Sandberg fan. I read her books. I love her quotes. And, you know, she talks so much about resilience, and she talks about, you know, the easy days are easy, you know, we're all going to have them and those are great, but it's the hard days that really define us. And it's not always, you know, what you achieve, but it's more of how you survive and the way you do it. And, you know, it's kind of funny because, again, as Desiree and I were bantering, and look, confession, she's asked us to send this in for weeks. I'm doing it last minute. Sometimes we can't get it all done. And, you know, but her reply back to me was, well, Dean, I'm a big Queen fan. And I'm like, oh, well, I can see your theme song is probably We Will Rock You and We Are Champions, because that's what she does. And, you know, it just turned into this, who would have known that, you know, I'm going to be 50 at the end of this month. So I got a half century I'm looking forward to. So let's play those songs loud, and we'll educate everybody on the bands from the 70s.
There you go. There you
Okay,
go.
wait, Deanne. So in a given week, how many times do you have that song? Don't stop. I'm curious.
It is constantly, for my life, it has been one, because I think there was so many periods in my life where I was scared to try something. You know, it was another Sheryl Sandberg quote, you know, what would we all achieve and do if we weren't afraid to try? And
Exactly.
that song has, for now, you know, I think the band started in 73. So 47 years, that song, every time somebody tries to say, you can't, you won't, you shouldn't, instead of coulda, shoulda, would, it's like, watch me, I did it. I might not have done it perfectly. I might have failed a lot, and I might have said the wrong thing along the way, but my heart's there. So anyways, Desiree, thank you for pulling that out of us, because you make us pull out our stories, which a lot of us, somebody said earlier, a lot of times that Nancy, you know, we don't want to talk about the rest of us. But, you know, one last Sheryl, I'm sorry to quote her 3 times, but it's in the right vein. She says that don't have, you know, the professional who you are from Monday through Friday, you know, bring the professional and the personal to the table every day and be you, just be you.
Well, your second Journey song was Open Arms. And I don't think it could be more perfect than Open Arms in today, because can we do a group hug? Yeah, we can do it digitally. Yeah. Can you know,
We can hug.
whatever. But one of the things that makes in person so valuable is you get to see, smell, you get to see what kind of clothes someone's wearing. I mean, you can't tell, if I'm dressed all the way down or not. You all could be nude from the waist down and we would never know. But and a lot of men are, or they're in their boxers, but and they caught that one guy, I can't remember, it's pretty funny. But the idea is doing a major network. Our goal is to really amplify that when you're in a personal meeting, I can smell you. I can see your body language is more important than what you say. I can see how you're reacting to me. And I also get to see what's happening around us. So now that we're in this environment and to where we don't travel as much, I haven't been on an airplane since March 3rd, when my last conference is in Dallas, Texas, when I was speaking. Is that we have an opportunity to see each other now, where we would never take the time to get on a phone and just talk. We'd never take the time, to see visually each other. We would just talk. Now we get to really get to see a little bit better, and we get to see, are you paying attention to me? Because every one of you, when you're not looking, when someone's talking, did I check my email? Did I did this, did that? Because we're multitasking. As women, we show up, but we're also multi-layered and multitasking. We don't stay up 100% because we've been programmed. Gotta do it. How do I get it all done? Because you can't buy time. When you find a place we can buy time, please let me know, because I'd like to buy some. It hasn't been in my book yet. But the idea is that we now are taking the time to hug each other. We can now, let's come up with a song. And this, I'm going to challenge everyone who's watching us on Facebook Live and who's watching us as we go forward. What is the one thing that we all can relate to? And that is a song. As soon as you go out with someone, the one thing that you hear is the first note of a song that romantically you're attached to or negatively attached to, your body immediately endorphins just go, whoa, it synergizes you, right? I would challenge us as a group, for everyone who's a spokeswoman, to come up with a theme song that is ours and we own it, that as soon as you hear that note, you have a feeling. Because that is what happens, that is one thing you can't take away, that as soon as you hear it, it puts you in that mindset. It takes you back to that environment where we physically met, maybe it's something that we did, same thing you do to someone else. And so how does that relate to you? Because I can't smell you. You might be sharing a coffee cup and say, oh, isn't this cute? Let's have this fun. Versus then, showing that, I have my clothes on and hey, you look cool, what's going on? But as soon as that's sewn, your body is going to set on, because it's a real body reaction that you can't control.
And we need like our own group hug, because like listening to y'all close on this, the whole open arms, but we're coming from heart, and we're coming with open ears. And so maybe this is like our group hug is just, we're listening to each other and we're sharing from our heart and, and embracing it. So thanks for letting me share that, Desiree.
Absolutely. Well, you have a perfect lead in to sharing that, because the NDLC, our leadership council, has our 10 principles. For everyone who's out there, our 10 leadership principles. Mine is listen. I'm the third principle. The first one is from Erica Courtney, is trailblazer. Then we have one, speak up, speak out. We could go down the list. So every month we're going to we have our theme, instead of having, the history months or breast aware. We are in October. This is breast cancer awareness month for women, right? So the idea is, my mother died of breast cancer. Didn't tell us for 19 years that she had breast cancer. I told her, Mom, that looks like a little spot. You should have it checked. Oh, just put some ointment on it. We'll be good. 19 years later, she goes in the hospital, doesn't tell a single person that she has breast cancer. 2 months before she dies, she goes in and finally has one removed. And then she says she has breast cancer. Doesn't even tell her best friends, only tells her family. So it's because she wanted to make sure everyone had this perfect image of her, of who she was, because she was this icon in college. And so she couldn't let people see her in her down moment. Very sad. So when we had her party, when she passed, everyone had no idea. They came up, how come no one told her? She said she was just not feeling good. And so she left that emptiness with the family. So those are the things that I believe that we as a society have to, and as a group, come up with a song that really snaps, and it could be one note. So who would like to be, who's a songwriter? Here's a musician.
Nancy.
No, no, no.
Nancy,
I
you can stop
tell
being
that
the hairdresser. You can be the songwriter.
Okay, so Laura, that you don't know, is very connected in Hollywood. Her husband was a
He was a property master for 45 years in the business, did a lot of big features. I'm still involved because if you don't remarry, you're always in the system. And I tell them I'm high maintenance, not marriage material. I'll be with you guys to the very, very end. But I wanted to thank you, Desiree. I wanted to tell you, all of us know, all the women we know that we're surrounded, whether they're in real estate, banking, anything, but they're home with their children, they're homeschooling. They're not only working, they're being the mother at home. They hate their teacher at home, by the way. A lot of them are suffering from PTSD, and it's probably the wrong word, but I'm seeing a lot of depression in women that I deal with every day. So you know what you said, I can't see her name up here anymore. Oh gosh, it'll come to me. Leora, is the fact that you don't know what anyone's going through, their journey, how they feel. Reach out, just call and say, hey, how are you? I see it a lot with the seniors right now. They're going through a lot of crisis. We can give everybody a hug. That one phone call can make all the difference in the world. And I love this group, and we share. And I've learned so much about you, like Nancy, where to get your hair. Vanessa, I love your new do. I mean, everyone, I mean, it's so exciting what everyone's doing. And, you know, what a great group of women.
Laura H., you have 7 kids. What can you, I have 4. How many of us have 4 or more?
I'm an empty nester. I'm gone. My daughter's gone.
Okay, how many, but Laura, you have 7.
Anybody.
I only have
Wait,
4
finally.
people now.
But your daughter is on a full academic scholarship. She's an amazing little superstar. We're so incredibly proud of your daughter. So tell us a little bit about your daughter. I mean, it's just fantastic. And she left. I'm like, in a pandemic, stay home.
Yes, yes. So my daughter's Madeline. She is at UIC of Chicago. She is pre-law. She graduated high school with a 5.632 GPA. And so everybody's been kind of going wild about her. She did have the opportunity to stay home and e-learn, but UIC offered her her dorm. It's a single suite, so she doesn't share with anybody. And she's enjoying her dorm room experience. She comes home on Fridays. I take her back Sunday nights, and she eats me out of house and home, but I replenish every week. So I'm really happy to see my daughter on the weekends. But as far as the week goes, I might be able to catch her once or twice on the phone. But we're all very proud of Maddie, and she's at UIC. So she's my pride and joy. She's my only one. And she knows she's my whole world. My husband usually comes 4th down the list after the cats. So he's okay with that. He's okay with that. But I did want to share something. I met Desiree about 2 years ago here in Chicago, and it was the last day of the conference. And she was like bending over, fiddling with her luggages. And I tapped her and I said, you know what, Desiree? You are a powerful vessel, and I want to be on your team. And I don't think that she knew that I was being serious. And I don't think that she knew that at that moment I attached myself to her hip. And here we are. And I'm proud to say that I am now part of your powerful vessels being on this platform and being with you guys today.
Thank you, Fab. I really appreciate it. And congratulations to your daughter. The fact that it used to be 4.0 and now we're at 5.63, I didn't even know it went that high. That's incredible. I mean, that's unbelievable. That's insane. So Laura, I know you got to go. Is there anything you'd like to add real quick?
I love you all. There's a few here I hadn't met yet. So I'm so excited that I finally got to put faces to names, and anyone who's still on the Facebook Live, if you have any interest in becoming a delegated spokeswoman, it's a phenomenal opportunity. Especially if you're one that likes to give back and pay it forward. I'm sure Desiree's gonna drop where you can get that information on how to make that happen. But thanks to everybody who participated today, and I can't wait to do it again.
Thank you, and good luck on the new job. I know. Say hello to Eddie, and yes, let's do it. Let's do it. All right, congrats. All right, thank you for joining us.
So I just want to say something. I think probably every one of us remembers the first time that we met, Desiree. I know that I do. I was so attracted to your energy. It was at 5 Star. I don't know if you remember, but it was quite an impression on me. And yeah, I just knew I wanted to be a part of the group and a part of whatever you were doing. And I just want to thank you for that.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'd like to get some incredible advice from you. You have 7 children. And that's,
I'm a little tired.
I mean, what are their age groups? I mean, what's their ages? And how can you help someone who has none to help navigate those who do? And how can you help those who have some on some of the challenges? You know, when I got hired by Freddie Mac, 1991, the woman who gave me my first set of properties, and I'm saying 5 of them in one day, first outing with them, she was one of 21 children. And I was like, in one house, and how she talked about the tours and everything. So you having 7, still a big number. So talk to me about how can that help us navigate this? Because you've got to be unbelievable doing that.
Well, you just have to be incredibly organized. And of course, you know, go back, 30 years when I was starting in real estate. And, I've got my youngest, I got one over here coloring. I got one here in the bassinet. I got, I'm like just going in every different direction. And the challenge is a little bit different now. People are a little more in tune with, understanding that mothers can work and still be good at work and good at being a mother. So that was not, when I started in the business, that was not the view. In fact, I remember being brought into my, the manager's office and being told, because I was having a baby, that I wasn't going to be working as much and wasn't going to be producing as much. So they were going to have to cut my split. That was a fun conversation. Yeah, I mean, I think the world has come a long way since then. And I will tell you, I'm not at that company. I knew right then that was not the place for me to be. But yeah, I've only got 4. Only got 4 still at home now. My youngest just turned 12 yesterday, and so lots of celebration. I've got so I've got 12-year-old twins because we thought we'd have one more. Yeah. Life throws you a curve. I mean, the day, well, they were born September 30th. Apparently they were supposed to be born September 29th. And I get this phone call from my doctor, and she said, and she's like, where are you? I'm like, well, in fact, I was sitting exactly where I'm sitting right now. I'm like, well, I'm at my desk at work. Where else would I be? She's like, well, I'm at the hospital scrubbed up. Are you not coming? Did my office not call you? And because it was twins, so they were going to do it. That was my only C-section. And I was like, no, I had no idea. And I have a listing appointment. So does tomorrow work for you? So, yeah, just do what you got to do. So, so they got to have their birthday the next day. But yeah, you just can't let people tell you that you can't. I mean, that was, when I, back to that conversation, all those years ago, what that would be 26 going on 27 years ago, that conversation happened in that manager's office. And, I thought in my head, not only am I going to do less, I'm going to do more, and then I'm going to leave. And that's exactly what I did. So, yeah, you just, women, we are great multitaskers. We switch from, we can switch gears back and forth, and we can stay organized. And that's why we get so much done, in our focus. So
I'd like to add a perfect story to your Laura's. I was having my 3rd son, and I was literally on the delivery table, literally pushing having my 3rd son. And I get a call from Coldwell Banker's president. I'll never forget this. Bob Lefevre, and he calls me up, former FBI director, calls me up and says, Desiree, what are we going to do about negotiating the lease on this property? Because blah, 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 blah. And I said, Bob, do you realize I'm having a baby right now on the delivery table? So can we talk about this later? Yeah. Okay, can you call me back in a couple hours? Excuse me, how long do you think it is to have a baby? I'm not kidding. I am not kidding.
I totally believe it. No, they took my phone away from me. But then I got it back here. I presented, after 3 of my children, I presented offers in the hospital, and they're like, why can't you come over? Well, I gave birth about 5 hours ago. They want, I'm in the hospital. I'll be out in a couple of days, but right now, we'll have to do this on the phone. They're like, oh my gosh, why are you talking to me? I'm like, because you needed me.
I went back to work within 24 hours the next day. I came in, worked 12-hour days, brought the babies. I nursed for 6 months, 18 months total for each child. So that's 6 years total. And I immediately went right back to work, and I was only in the hospital for that night, and that was it, and right back into work the next day. But it was like, oh, we have babies? Okay, this is fine. What do I do now? Okay, so I put it, literally there's a picture that hangs. Oh, here it is. I know, you're all gonna think I'm weird, but this is what it is. Here's a picture of me. If I can take it off the wall. Here's
I can go back till day 5.
a picture of me with the baby on the table as I'm negotiating right after having a baby.
Wow.
So it really happened.
Yeah.
Well, on another perspective, when my son will be 7 this month, but I remember being very pregnant, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want my asset managers to know that I'm this pregnant, because I was worried they were not going to send me assignments. And I do a lot of commercial. And so I work with mostly men doing commercial. And I was like, and I got comments when I was very pregnant of, are you going to be able to handle my building? Are you going to be able to take care of this? And I'm like, yes, absolutely. Why wouldn't I? This isn't a disease. I'm pregnant. I'm going to have a baby. But I even did it to myself. I was even thinking like, oh gosh, I don't want to go to the conference because I don't want all the asset managers to see my pregnant belly and think, oh, she can't handle it. So I think we get in our own heads as well of worrying about what people are going to think because we're pregnant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or having babies.
Well, and unfortunately,
babies, even being sick or anything,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
That pressure on ourselves. I'll tell you, this new job that I was negotiating, like my pay and stuff, which I negotiated the hell out of it. But I was in the hospital bed. I was in the hospital bed. I just had surgery. August 10th or something like that. But I remember I had to do one of my interviews, and I'm in bed, and I'm calling like in bed, and they're like, okay, we're gonna do the surgery right now, we're gonna go tonight. And I'm calling them, and I said, hey, like, I'm not sure if I could, I'm going to make this interview. I'm like, because they're about to remove my gallbladder right now. I'm like in extreme pain. And the nurses are just looking at me like, you're doing phone calls? I was like, yeah. And can I get this one email like in before like we start this process, because it's really important. So we do that all the time, I think, even, but that also leads to the anxiety and depression, right?
Because we don't finish it. We don't get it done. We don't have it done. Yeah.
Yeah, the stress is huge.
Well, we all have to, I think this has been incredible, and we're going to get to a closing here. It's really about, now we know so much more. Have everyone learned something about someone that you didn't know?
Yes.
Has this not been enlightening, and the stress of Deanne of getting it done? But it's so cool what you put together. The idea is that having your journey. So homework, if you haven't given your journey, get your journey up so we can get it on our website so everyone can see and share, because we want to hear your stories. We want to know your stories, because why keep it a secret what you've been through? Because others will follow and others will have that success. Because we forget where we've been and what we've done, because we've done so much. And if we focus on our inner side and say, hey, we've done that, and it's been harder to do than what we're dealing with now. So wake up and pull it together. And there's moments where we need just that extra little moment. And I think the incredible takeaway for everyone who's watching us is that, what is that song? What is that something that triggers you into a happy mode versus then something that you might need that? So someone could you imagine if you knew someone was having a not a perfect day, or someone made a post, or that it was a while to get through them, and you actually clicked them a note and just sent that little reminder instead of an emoji, but something that actually triggered a happy thought? What power would be? And we all have the time to do that. So that powerness needs to come from within and get that done. So in closing, I'd love everyone to take 1 minute and talk about how they can get what your takeaway is, so you can get them to be not only involved in where you're at and what you'd like to take from this moment. So I'm going to start with Deanne. You're up in the corner.
Again, I think just show up, just say, I want to learn. You know, leadership is about a willingness to learn. And I think I've learned that more going through COVID too. It's not trying to be the one that can say the most or sound the smartest. It's the one that's willing to come in and learn and take that away and then pass it on. I always like to say, you know, we're here to help send the elevator back down, because there's been somebody along our paths or many people that have helped raise us up. So we've got an obligation to do that and to spread it out. And I'm going to close on this too, because, you know, listening to Tiffany reflect back on actually the day that I met you, Desiree, and the day we sat on that panel with Teresa Palacio Smith, you know, the one thing that echoed in my mind was hearing this amazing, talented woman articulate in front of a big group that her goal is to be the first female owner of a Berkshire Hathaway in Texas. And I will never forget watching how she said that with conviction and self-confidence, but sincerity. And I remember sitting there going, she's going to do it. And she did it. So we need to put things that we want to influence and affect out there in the ethos more. You know, we used to say what gets written down in a business plan gets done. I think we've got to do a better job now of not only taking what we're writing down in silence, but getting it out there and then having those around you to help support you and know you're going to get there. So that's my close. And again, if I can ever help anybody in Atlanta, Georgia, and oh gosh, we need to get our friend that just got the big job here in Atlanta, probably more. If she needs to buy a house, I can help her. Just
I love it. Okay, Tiffany, 1 minute.
Or she had to slide off, but you know,
you got it. Not a problem. I love the relationship. Okay, Tiffany, 1 minute. We all got 1 minute because we're running over. Sorry.
Thanks so much, Deanne, for inspiring me. I appreciate you guys so much. The biggest thing and takeaway I can give people is balance. You have to have balance. You have to have focus. You can't lose yourself. We're multitaskers. We're going to do so many things. Connect to a great network of people that are going to support you, that are going to empower you. And most importantly, in your own life, you have to have balance between your business and your personal. I tell our agents that every day, and you never know what's going to happen. So balance is so critical. One of our agents just had 4 surgeries in the last 6 weeks for breast cancer. And, you know, so when you said that, Desiree, it just hit me, because she was expecting to have 2 surgeries, and it turned into chaos. And she actually literally almost died. And so you have to have balance so that you can pivot. Because if we were not balanced at this point, if I was still just kind of all over the place, there's no way I could have supported her as a person and our company and all the things that were going on. So I will say balance. Don't forget that.
Thank you. Brandy, we're going down.
I agree. And I have to second that. I was at the doctor today and, you know, I have scoliosis and I forget about it. And so now that we're doing Zoom calls all day, I'm sitting all the time. And so my body has been completely out of line. And I realize because I'm doing way too much and I'm trying to fit so much things in. And in my head, it's like, oh, it's just Zoom calls. But I'm literally on Zooms from like 8 in the morning till 5 every day. And so it's step back, look at what you're doing. Do I really have to do all this? Because is it really doing what I'm reaching to reach my goals? And it's not. So I need to, it's time to step back and evaluate what you're doing and look at that balance again, like Tiffany was saying.
But you also have a husband you've been taking care of for the last couple of years. That's been very, very challenging, and having in bedridden for years. So
exactly. And that's why I laughed this morning. I was like, I felt weird going to the doctor because I'm the one always taking my husband 2 or 3 times a week, and I never go for myself. And so today was the first time, and I was there that's why I was late. I was there almost 2 hours because I haven't been to the doctor forever. And she's like going down this list. And I was like, oh, I didn't even think about all this. So
you need to. So everyone out there, self-help, self-care, self-analysis. Nancy, thank you.
And to add to that, because I agree with that as well, you know, staying true to yourself, being authentic, knowing that you are worth every opportunity. So take them. And if you need a hand up or just some guidance, or some support, or even just a sounding board. Heck, you don't want to hear my advice, don't. But if you just want someone to listen to you, you know, we are here for you.
Excellent. And then we do get quite a few calls now saying, how do I get a loan? Talk to me. We're getting slammed and we don't do loans, but they're calling for advice, and that's exactly what it's for. So thank you. Fabiola.
Unmute.
Let's jump to Angie. Angie, go for it.
Hi, ladies. I was going to say passion. Right now, this year has turned everyone up on their ear about everything that they were doing, that they were kind of just stuck in their routines. And think about your passion point and encourage your clients to think about their passion point and go for what it is that makes you happy. And like you're all like, you know, talking about mental health and making sure that that child inside of you is happy so that your cup can overflow into others. So that's my thing.
Excellent. Excellent. Vanessa.
Hi, ladies. So we only have one life to live, and I would say be your own voice. Just be you. Everyone has a different narrative. Everybody has a different story here in this wonderful panel, but just do the best that you can and make a difference in your community. For me, my passion is home ownership and real estate and helping others build that generational wealth. So just know what your story is and just do the best that you can to shed a little light to somebody else. So again, we only have one life to live. Let's just make the most of it.
You have great parties, let me tell you. Fab, go for it.
My takeaway would be is be a lion, be a go-getter, be courageous. Don't let anybody say anything to you. Knock those walls down, keep it moving, keep it running. But at the end of the day, don't forget to look back and bring somebody with you.
Absolutely. Open the wall, open the door and carry the bags. Love it. Thank you. Laura H.
Well, people have always asked me, how have you done what you've done? And I've always said, well, show up. And by show up, I mean, you're present in the moment, whether you're on the phone call, you're with a client, you're with your child, we all have something to teach and we all have something to learn, but being aware, we get going so fast, and we talked about multitasking earlier, and we've got the goals, we're doing so many things, but sometimes we just need to take a breath and, how can this person help me? How can I help them? Just really being in touch with it. But, and it goes back to the balance as well, because, I've always had it. For 30 years, I've had a house full of children, and, a lot of different moving parts, a lot of things going on, but being able to stop and focus on that 10-year-old that says, hey, I need you, and going, okay, I got to turn this off over here and just focus. And same way with our employees, same way with our coworkers. It's really important to show up, be present in that exact moment.
I love it. And quick 10-second thing, Rita Mamera, we all have to do when we go look at properties, how to do eviction status, is it occupied or not. I remember making a phone call to Rita Mamera, and she was in Chicago when I was doing tons of REOs, and the first thing she said was, hi, this is Realty One, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I'm calling a bank. You're not a bank. You're a real estate company. So why am I calling you? She says, Desiree, you're the first person to notice in 5 years, I'm going to sign 100 properties to you. I was in the moment. I was listening to her because I said, am I really leading the right? And I left a message to that point, and she called me back and told me that. And for that day, we ended up saving a woman who had both her legs removed. And 4 months, I got the bank to say, no, we will sell it to her because of malpractice for an insurance claim. Whole nother story. But thank you for reminding me of that. It's powerful. It is powerful if we show up and we listen. Laura Dietz, close us out.
Well, I think it's always important to stand up for what you believe in and be compassionate about it. You can be the great owner of a company, but that's just all you are. You need to be the team player. And it's not a matter of when these REOs are coming. I mean, they are coming. So you have to work on being compassionate. with people, because this is a American dream of getting a home and it's a nightmare of losing one. I think it's important for our sisters across the United States that we reach out. A lot of states are having a lot of issues, that we need to be present, but also with our own self balance. I think COVID brought many horrible things, but it also brought a reality that spending time and dinner with your family when you're, instead of being at the office, really brought a lot of fruition and a lot of great feelings. So I think you need to be the best you are, be good to yourself. And when you make a mistake, pick yourself up. You look, that's how you're going to learn. But also look at someone else and see what their journey is and how you can be a resource to help them.
Excellent for closing. So empathy is all compassion, empathy, driver, role model, leader, and sharing her story is what we heard today is the thing. So I want to thank all you incredible ladies for making this happen. It's been a passion of mine to bring you out in the forefront to showcase and highlight this. So if you'd like to be involved with NAWRB, be a delegate, you can apply. We are looking for incredible other women leaders to share, to amplify it, because this is about giving back, leveraging resources and relationship to uplift and collaborate, because the more we can do that, the more we can help our own communities, because there's no point reinventing the wheel when we've already bring the will to the system. So thank you all. Have a fabulous time. Again, that's NAWRB.com. And please have a fantastic month, and we'll talk to you soon on our next call. All right, take care.
Great to see you all.
Bye.
Take care. Have
Bye.
a beautiful weekend.